Hello, this is Billy Core from homeofcarolinacirclemall.com, and tonight I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to talk about Carolina Circle Mall, I'm going to talk about computers. This computer right here is a Packard Bell Legend 1510 Supreme. Let me zoom in there on the model number. Good old Windows 95. The infamous Packard Bell Navigator, which you will see right now.
Welcome from Packard Bell. We offer you two computing environments to choose from, Packard Bell's Navigator or Microsoft Windows. You may also begin by taking a quick lesson on using the mouse.
A lesson on using the mouse. Oh boy, were the 90s sure were an interesting time to live in. Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and you've been asking about this computer for a long time. Well, here it is. It's admittedly looked a lot better than this, but here is the Packard Bell Legend 1510 Supreme, the first computer ever seen on my channel. Now, you're probably wondering, one, why haven't you seen it in almost 2 years, and two, why is it an empty shell of its former self? Well, this all goes back to 2011 when I decided to take the CPU out of the computer and managed to break the little lever on the socket, so I was never able to put the CPU back where it needed to be, so the computer was pretty much useless then. And that was heartbreaking, and the computer sat dormant for a few years. But then in 2014 I bought another motherboard identical to the original motherboard off eBay, and we put it in the computer together. I did a video about that, and that brought the computer back to life after a few years of being dormant. And the 1510 Supreme ran just fine for a few years until 2017 when, well, I decided to take a PCI SATA card and put it in the PCI slot right here on the riser card. And unbeknownst to me, the PCI card I put in there had some kind of a problem, and it wound up shorting something out on the board. While it still posted, it was just not working right with certain expansion cards, so yeah, not a pleasant thing. So I sent the motherboard off to my friend ULTBW100, who offered to fix the original board that came in this computer, but unfortunately he wasn't quite able to do that, so this computer had to sit empty and dormant again for a couple more years until today in January of 2019, when I finally decided to just take matters into my own hands and purchase yet another motherboard on eBay to put in this computer, which we will take a closer look at right now. Okay, here's a close-up look at the motherboard. I'm quite familiar with this particular Packard Bell motherboard. This is the PB600, which is the same motherboard that's in my Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT. So, for obvious reasons, this is my favorite of the Packard Bell motherboards. Now, there are a few little minor complaints I have about this. For one, the Cmos battery right here, while being a CR2032, is actually soldered to the board, which makes it difficult to replace. But the thing about these is that I have never encountered one of these motherboards with a dead clock battery before. I don't understand how these batteries have always survived. Of course, I haven't powered up this board yet, so this maybe dead for all I know, but if that was to be the case, somewhere along here is an external battery header, so no big deal. And it also has a 4 GB hard drive limit, which is kind of hard to get around, but you know what, this motherboard has a lot of sentimental value to me, so those two little issues there, I can forgive them. Right here is the processor. This is a Pentium 1. This is a 133 megahertz Pentium. The 1510 Supreme originally came with a 120 megahertz, so this computer will be getting a slight upgrade, I suppose. There's the slot for the expansion card. It's already got RAM in here. I believe this has 32 megabytes. And it's, as you can see, mounted to this metal back plate, which I believe is for the mini tower Packard Bells like the 822. Of course, we won't be using this back plate since we'll be putting this in a desktop style case. Anything else of interest to show? There's your video RAM expansion slots there, or sockets I mean. And our BIOS chip, PB600 BIOS U9. And I definitely will be flashing this with the latest BIOS. So, anything else of interest? Well, yeah, I guess I should show the I/O. Got parallel, serial, keyboard and mouse, can't remember which is which, and video. The video card on here is a Cirrus Logic GD5430, which was typical of Packard Bells at the time and many other computers at that time, not just Packard Bells. Not sure what this code right here is for. That was written on by whoever had this before me, but it's not like I really care. And let me go get some other parts I forgot to get out for this project. Okay, first of all, we got the Cd-Rom drive we'll be putting in here. This is actually the original model drive that came with the Legend 1510 Supreme. This is, I believe, an NEC drive. Forget what speed. It's either 6 or 8 speed. This Cd-Rom was actually originally in my corner Packard Bell, but I upgraded it to Cd-Rom drive a while back, so this has been sitting around doing nothing. Still works, surprisingly. These drives usually go bad, but this one still works. So we'll put that aside there, and you can't have a Packard Bell without a Packard Bell sound modem card. This is, again, the same model that would have been in the 1510 Supreme. Not the exact same one, of course, but same model. These cards get a lot of flack, but you know what? I like them. They have their own unique feel to them that I just like. And, of course, we will be adding the riser card, which is necessary to put the cards in. And I don't have it out right now, but I will be putting a PCI network card in here. There are a couple of parts I'm still waiting for to come in the mail this week. I still need a floppy drive. The floppy drive that was originally in this computer, it worked fine, but I took it out to put in another computer, and I currently don't have any other beige floppy drives. I could put a black floppy drive in here, but that would drive me insane. I think that's coming in the mail tomorrow, so we will add that then. And I'm also waiting on a CF card to IDE adapter, but that won't be here for about another 2 or 3 days. So this will take a few days to complete, thanks to the U.S. Postal Service. But I think today we should be able to get the motherboard in and do a post test, see if everything's working, and then we'll wait on the other parts, and we'll see if we can get this computer up and running sometime this week. But of course, with the magic of video editing, you will see all of it in one condensed video. So anyway, I guess it's time to start putting the motherboard in the computer. But first, I've got to take this back plate off. I'll probably do that off camera. But anyway, we will resume then. Okay, as you can see here, I kept most of all the stuff I need to put this computer back together in here when I Stored it away a couple of years ago. I've still got all the ribbon cables, the drive cage, and some memory I must have been using, but we won't be needing that since the new board already has it. And the little bracket that goes along here. So, and we still got our power supply. Guess we might as well position the tripod so you can see things better as I put the motherboard in. So, one moment, please. Okay, just get your bearings straight. This is the front, this is the back. So, let's go ahead and pop the board in. Old plastic piece of tab there. I guess March of this year will be 14 years since I initially got this computer. Hard to believe it's been that long. Hard to believe I was into vintage computers from the 90s all the way back in 2005. And I almost wound up with a compact Rosario 2200 instead of one of these. I'm glad I went with this instead. So this computer's got a lot of sentimental value, and that's one of the main reasons I'm putting it back together. It deserves a new motherboard. Admittedly, I paid a little too much for this. I'm not going to say how much I paid for it, but you got to keep in mind that parts for vintage computers, and especially vintage computers in general, are just getting hard to come by these days. So obviously the prices are going to go up, which is a shame. But you know what are you going to do? It's just the way life is. Get you a better shot there. So go ahead and put the first screw in. I still remember I was in 8th grade when I got this computer. I was 15. And I remember the day it came. It was a Monday, 2005, March. And feeling excited that it was on its way. This computer originated from a Sears in Florida in September of 1996, which is when it was purchased. It somehow left Florida and moved to Thomasville, North Carolina, sometime between 1996 and 2005. Thomasville is just about 45 minutes away from here. So this computer didn't have far to go when I ordered it. It was first thing I ever bought on eBay, believe it or not. Computer cost $50 and was $20 to ship, so $70 in total. And it came with the computer, obviously, all the peripherals, all the books, all the CDs, and the monitor. Unfortunately, when I got the computer that day, the monitor, the original Packard Bell monitor, was non-functional. Even though it only had a 45-minute drive up here, somehow UPS managed to smash something inside of the monitor, and the picture was just completely scrambled. It was just useless to me. That was a shame. But now I've got about 2 or 3 Packard Bell monitors, so can't really complain now, can I? And I still remember all the excitement I had that day when I did get a monitor hooked up to it. Seeing all the stuff that came on this computer. It was the first time I'd seen Windows 95 and Packard Bell Navigator for many years. So the nostalgia trip I had that day was like none other. Because I remember when I found this computer on eBay, I'd been searching for about a month and a half for a Windows 95 computer, and when I saw this, I knew I had to have it right then and now. And I'm very grateful that I have this computer, and I'll be even more grateful when this computer is back together and running. Okay, motherboard is screwed in. Okay, time to start working on the power supply. I don't believe this is the original power supply that came with this computer, but it still works just fine, so that's all that matters. We'll start with the motherboard power, of course this being AT style. Once I get it untangled, you gotta always, there are two little pieces here. The camera can get them, I don't know if it can. There we go, I guess. Okay, that's best we're going to get. You always got to keep these two connectors together like this. The two black wires next to the other two black wires on the opposing connector. Because bad things will happen if you put these in, say, like this. I know from first-hand experience the disaster that can cause. So yeah, never do that, or else you'll cause a nuclear explosion. So we'll go ahead and put the connectors in. Actually, I may have this. I actually have to go this way, maybe. Just as long as the black cables are together. Don't really connect AT power supplies up that often. If you hear a crunch, that's usually not a bad thing. Okay, there we go. That should be safe from nuclear annihilation. Okay, next thing we need to do is connect the case accessories, the LEDs and all that good stuff. On these Packard bells, it's usually not too difficult. Just gotta remember where it goes. Okay, this goes right here. And I guess this other one goes right here. And the front fan, where does that go? I forget. Might be right here. And that was off camera, I'm sorry. Alright, next thing, need to start working on those expansion cards. To do that, we need to put our riser card in. There we go. And we'll go ahead and put our little metal bracket here to keep the riser card in place. Look how it goes. So a little hole right there I need to pivot in. It goes like so. Okay, I need to find some screws. Okay, nice to see it start to come together. I'll tell you, when I brought this computer out of storage about 30 minutes ago, it was the first time I'd seen this computer in about a year and a half, I suppose. And I just grinned at it like a complete idiot because I was so happy to see it after all that time. I'm weird, aren't I? Okay, I just remembered I need to go find a network card. Be right back. Okay, we're going to be using this lovely Netgear Ethernet card. I know this network card works with both Windows 95 and Windows for workgroups, so that will definitely be a good one to go with. So first, let's start off with our sound card, which will go in right here. Grab a screw, This is going a lot quicker than I thought it would. And I may have just jinxed it, I don't know. I guess this one will work. A little too large. I have a very, very, very highly technical and organized way to organize my screws. Coffee cup. Wouldn't recommend it, but hey, it works most of the time. I think this will get it in there. Ooh, I hope I can find a Cd-Rom audio cable for this computer. Remember, I was running low on them not long ago. Make some adjustments there. And it's starting to come together. And we'll put our network card on top. Go. Okay then, is there anything else that needs to be done before we can test it for post? Because I'm going to wait until I get that floppy drive till I put the CD-ROM in there. So, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and test it out. I guess it's already a computer again officially, so let's plug some peripherals up and give it some power and see if we blow something up. Okay, getting butterflies in my stomach. This is going to be the moment of truth. Let's see if the money I spent on this was all worth it. Here we go. Power LED. Okay, we got signal. There we go. That's what we want to see. Oh boy, system Cmos checks some bad. And we're in 1988 apparently. Really hope I don't have to replace the battery on here, because I've never had one die on these before, but I guess there's a first time for everything. Let's just see if it'll save something. Today is January the 21st, 2019, and it's 4:45 p.m. And in military time, that would be 16:45. And we'll leave that alone for now since we don't have any drives to plug into it yet. Yes to plug and play OS. And we got 31 megabytes of memory. That's the perfect amount that I want. So we are looking good. .133 megahertz. Diskette drive A error, no surprise there, because there's not one connected. That's still in the mail, but I think that's coming tomorrow, so we can take care of that then. A little hung up there, but no big deal. It's probably because of the lack of floppy drive. Oh yeah, that's right, I took the reset button thing out of there for another project I was doing a while back. No big deal. So yeah, that's looking good. Fun fact, this monitor right here is the first monitor I ever used on this computer. After I discovered the one that came with this was completely smashed. I unplugged this from my Dimension 2350, which at the time was over there, and brought it over here. And I remember whenever I wanted to use the 1510 Supreme, I would have to take the monitor all the way from over there, bring it over here, and hook it up. And then if I needed to go back to my main computer, I'd have to take this monitor off of this, bring it back over there. So it was never possible to use that computer. It was never possible to use both computers at the same time back then, until about a month later when I bought a Dell CRT from the flea market to use on this computer. So, guess that's all I can do for today. So, I will leave this computer as is until tomorrow when we can install our floppy drive and our CD-ROM. So through the magic of video editing, we will do that right now. Okay, it's the very next day and I got some packages in the mail, starting with this floppy drive. This one is not in the best condition I was hoping for, but it'll work, and most importantly, it matches. There's the back of it there. This is an Alps Electric Company model drive. And surprisingly, I actually got my compact flash adapter today. I got it 2 days early, which means that we'll be able to finish this project today. And this is the CF card will be going in, a 2 gig card. This will actually be running exclusively Windows 3.1 for now, because this will be going in the bedroom, and I already have the 822 running Windows 95, which will be right next to it, so really no point in running 95 on here at the moment, but of course that probably will change someday. And of course got the CD-ROM there, we saw that yesterday. So let's get started with the floppy drive, which will go in this cage right here on top. Okay, to mount the floppy drive, we'll need to put these 2 screws in. Actually, no, not those screws. These are special screws that Packard Bell used, and I'm glad I was able to find them in that mug. They, you can see right there how it kind of works. Of course, it's not going to focus, but you get the idea. They have to slide into these little holes right here. So, we will, well, first I'm going to figure out how this goes again exactly. Let's see, is there a... Yeah, lines up there as well. So we'll put 2 screws on the bottom, slide it in, and then mount it in from the left there. Keep losing my organization here. Of course, I'm not a very organized person, and you probably know that by now. So let's get started. Go. I think it's this one. There we go. And this should, in theory, slide in. And now I need to find a good screw for these 2 holes right here. Technically I can put 3 in, but I think I'll just do 2 for now. And these just take regular screws. Nothing fancy. Ugh. Go. Or do this and show it on camera at the same time. Alright, on this end here. By the way, the 1510 Supreme has been turned off since I finished the last part of this video yesterday. So we'll find out for sure if that Cmos battery is dead or not. If we're lucky, maybe it just needed a charge. Like I said, I've never had one of those batteries die on me, which is really surprising. I think that's in there as good as it's going to get. Okay, now on to the CD-ROM. Again, I got to figure out how this goes. We have to use similar screws like we used on the floppy drive. Just got to figure out which end. Might be these bottom holes here. Again, we got to use screws like this. Okay. These two screws are not the same size as each other, so hopefully this will forgive me for that. And I think we should be okay. And again, this is where the hard drive would go, by the way, but we're not going to be using one since we'll be using the CF card. Alright, I guess we can go ahead and move this over to the computer. And I just realized I'm going to have to find a blanking plate to put right here. Might have to steal it out of another Packard Bell. Usually don't like doing that, but sometimes you don't have much of a choice in that manner. Okay, there we go. Actually, I'll keep the CD-ROM out for now and just put it in like this, and we can put the CD-ROM in as so. Get some of these Molex cables out of the way, out from under it. Actually, maybe we do need to put the CD in. Hold on, let me. Okay, I think I got my bearings straight now. I had to put another screw on this side of the CD-ROM. And the Lex is in the way again. Okay, now we need to finish it off right here. So it'll be nice and permanent. Find a screw. This ought to do it. Make sure it's lined up correctly. Okay, and not necessary, but I'll go ahead and put a screw up here just to be on the safe side. In order for the top cover to go on, I need to use a screw that's flat on top, perhaps like this. Assuming it fits, it is. It's really come together now. Alright. Looking pretty good. Again, we just need a blanking plate there. Now to wire up the IDE cables and the floppy cable. Figure out which one I want to use for which. Okay, I'll use the shorter one for the CD-ROM. I guess this is shorter. Kind of. Okay, not sure how well you'll be able to see this or not. We'll start with the CD-ROM. Okay, secondary is right here. Keep in mind this was before cable management was a thing in computers, especially OEM systems like this. So it's gonna look a little sloppy, but that's, I guess, the way it was meant to be. Okay. You can do it. Come on. Oh, it's got it backwards, of course, no wonder. Still need to find a CD-ROM audio cable. I need to do that in a minute. Okay, CD-ROM IDE is in. We'll just hide the cable underneath. And we need to give it a Molex power. Once I find the right one. Alright, here we go. Alright, now for floppy drive, this nice long cable here. That is not, yeah, it is keyed, I think. It goes in here in the very back. And this is the part that always trips me up. Can't ever remember how the floppy drive cable is supposed to go in. First, let's give it a power. I had it a second ago, but now it's gone astray. Okay. I've never used this floppy drive before. Seller said it works. Okay, I'll just do it this way and hope for the best. Okay, let me hunt for a couple of other little bits and pieces off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, while I was gone, I fixed a CD audio cable. I really didn't think I had one lying around, but this one seems to fit just fine. What else did I get? Oh, I also grabbed a blanking plate that should fit in here. Unfortunately, I had to steal out the ultimate Packard bell tower, so that has a hole in the front now until I can find another blanking plate. But this will do for now, so let's go ahead and see if we can get it in here. Okay, let's give this a try. Even it out. I can get. Probably should have done this before I put the drive cage in. But I'm not much of a forward thinker, am I? There we go. I was able to push in with the screwdriver. Alright, the front of the computer looks like a computer now. So that makes me happy. Okay, next thing, we need to take a look at this compact flash card adapter. I've used these before. This is the expansion slot style one. Alright. Never been used before. And these are very, very common little doodads. Unfortunately, I need to find a power adapter because this uses floppy power, and the power supply on here only has one for the floppy drive, so I better go find one. Be right back. Okay, I was able to find a power adapter, so let's reposition the camera back over on the workbench and install the CF adapter. Okay, first thing, let's go ahead and put our CF card in here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and plug power in. I've actually cut my hand open on these, slipping, but not this time. And we'll put it under the sound card. Grab a screw from my pile of screws that I made here. Go. Oh wait, almost forgot. We need to give it an IDE cable. So we'll plug it into the back here. Yeah, of course the cable isn't keyed. Why wouldn't it be? So we get to risk having it plugged in the wrong way. But maybe if I go by the way the CD-ROM cable is. We'll wrap it back around. Plug it in back here. Give it a plug in the adapter. Alright, let's see if it goes. And this should be it, I think. There we go. Alright, not the cleanest cables in the world, but it should work. Alright, let's take a closer look at the finished project. Of course, I'm not going to put the cover on just yet, because I'm not sure if I have everything connected properly. Got our floppy drive, CD-ROM, sound card, network card, and we'll flip it around. And on the back we've got our CF card and our motherboard I/O. So we're pretty much got everything that needs to be put inside the computer put inside, so let's hook it up and power it up, shall we? Okay, the official moment of truth. As you can hear, I even got a speaker hooked up to it. Please, Cmos battery. Oh, I'm gonna have to do soldering. And the floppy drive is plugged in the wrong way. Oh, we're off to a good start, aren't we? Okay, flip the cable around for the floppy drive. I had a feeling that was the wrong way around. Looks like I'm probably going to have to see about replacing the Cmos battery on here. Normally that's a pretty trivial thing, but since it's soldered to the board, I'm going to have to source a Cd-Rom battery like I have in the Legend 204 CD. So, did it die? Again, off to a good start. Okay, I was finally able to get into the BIOS. Again, we're back in 1988. What time is it? 4:38 p.m., so 16:38. And today is January the 22nd of 2019. Okay, picks up the hard drive, or CF card, I mean. And the CD-ROM. Plug and play BIOS. Yes. Well, that should be good enough. Hopefully we can get somewhere. Floppy drive seek. Why is it freezing there? Why is it freezing? I do not understand why it insists on freezing at that point. Well, let me do some troubleshooting. Okay, I believe I found the problem. It was getting hung up on this network card. So we will probably have to put another network card in here or move it to the other PCI slot, but when I took it out it started to boot into the operating system, so let's try it out on camera. I always love the sound of the floppy seek on these boards. Okay. This is the Windows 3.1 CF card from the Legend 822 CDT. Shouldn't have too much trouble booting into this since it's the same motherboard. So we'll give it a try without networking. Hopefully we can get some magic to happen. Okay, not sure what was up with that error message. So I think that had something to do with the MIDI. So let's just do a quick Canyon test to see if it's actually doing anything. And that's the sound of the modem initializing. And as I was afraid of, we got a problem with MIDI. What's going on here? MIDI mapper. So it's not happy about MIDI. I can tell you that much. Does MIDI and DOS work? I mean, we got wave support there, so, and that's Jay's little message he put on there when he configured this multi-boot for me. Should be a games folder on here. Just try Sky Roads, because it has MIDI in it. MIDI. Hope this doesn't become an issue. Oh, and I also found ourselves another little problem. Looks like we got a bad floppy drive, even though the seller guaranteed it worked. It just barely makes any noise at all when it tries to read. So something's not right with it. So I think despite my objection to it for now, I'm going to have to use a black floppy drive until I get this sent back and refunded. Okay, let's have a little chat, shall we? This portion of the video is actually being recorded quite a few days after what you just saw. What you just saw, I believe, was recorded Tuesday. Well, it is now Saturday. And let me explain why. Well, as you saw, I was having some sound card problems with the Packard Bell sound card. I can't remember if I showed myself testing it with the card out of the corner Packard Bell, but I was having different kinds of problems with that. And I spent hours and hours troubleshooting that thing. There was just little quirks about the motherboard that just did not seem right. And so I just came to the conclusion that it's best to just send the board back, get my money back, and get another one, because for roughly the same price, there was another PB600 board for sale on eBay. So I sent the old one back, ordered the other one that was on eBay, and well, still having the same problem with that particular sound card. But when I put the other sound card from the corner Packard Bell in there, I was kind of having that issue as well, but I was able to work my way around some of those issues, and as of right now, this computer is working pretty well. Maybe it was a waste of time sending that other board back, but I still think I did the right thing, because this one's just, I don't know, seems to be a little bit more sturdy than the last one. The only real issue is it takes a while for it to post, but no big deal there. Another thing I did, just to rule out other factors that may have been causing problems, I replaced the riser card. I went with another one that I found on eBay. And I took another AT-style power supply and put it in here just to be sure. So, because I was afraid that either the riser card or the power supply may have done something weird to the board we saw last. But it's hard to say what may have been going on, but I think right now we should be good to go. I know I didn't show putting the second board in here, but it was pretty much the exact same thing you saw before, and it would have been a little too redundant for video. So I can now demonstrate this computer working. Turn the speaker on over there, and yeah, my Bluetooth speaker makes the Windows 7 startup sound for some reason. Sorry for the little jar there. And I also took the liberty of updating the BIOS to the latest revision. And it's booting off of our CF card. Again, it takes a little longer than normal for it to post, but it'll eventually get there. Again, no real big deal there. I'm just glad to finally get this computer back up and running into working order, because this was a long time coming. There we go. And this is the Windows 3.1 CF card from the Legend 822 CDT. I think I'll keep it the way it is. Because the board is the same, the software is the same, and we got sound there, and this way I don't have to reformat and reinstall everything. But we can just do a quick little canyon test just to prove that everything is working. And by the way, the floppy drive is working now. I didn't have to send it back. Turns out there was just a little bit of dust where there shouldn't have been dust, and the floppy drive works perfectly now. So that's good to go. Head back into DOS. And right there is a little message Jay put on there for the multi-boot he made. Let's go to games. I always like to try my DOS games out with Sky Road's Christmas Special because it has both ad-lib and wave all at the same time, so this pretty much tells you right here and there if sound in DOS is working as it should. That speaker gets a little bit loud. So yeah, that seems to work. Again, I'm going to keep Windows 3.1 on here for now just because it's going to be next to the 822, which is running 95. And since the 822 and the 1510 are essentially the same computer but with different cases, it just doesn't make much sense to have the exact same operating system on both of them side by side. But if my needs change, it will run Windows 95 just fine for obvious reasons, because it came with Windows 95. So, I guess we can finally put the cover on here, which we will go ahead and do. I'll turn that speaker off because I think the battery is on its last legs, needs to be charged. I may have neglected to find screws to put on here. I do have one over here that I know will work, and I found a couple more that hopefully should do the trick. Okay. This is going to be very, very pleasing. The cover on this hasn't been put on in almost 2 years. Just got to line it up properly. Alright, there we go. A couple of screws. I think I've only got 2 for now, but we can... Oh wait, got another one right here. So, good to go there. And I dropped it. No surprise there. We're just an inch away from the finish line, folks. Don't it feel good? And I would show this computer set up in its new home, but this video has gone on long enough as it is. And we'll do that in a future video. Final screw. And this accent panel on this side came off a while ago, so I need to reattach that. Just one moment. Okay. We're done, folks. We are done. Let's check her out. Oh, yeah. The Legend 1510 Supreme is back. get this adjusted properly. My old friend. We'll take the camera off the tripod and take a closer look. Alright. Are some scratches on the case. One thing that is bothering me is, I guess it was inevitable that this would happen, but the front panel right here is starting to yellow a little bit. Now, I've seen much worse when it comes to yellowing, but I think this will give us an excuse sometime this spring or summer to try Retro Bright for the first time. I've been wanting to try it, and I think we found a good candidate for it. So we'll remove the front plate from it and Retro Bright it sometime once the weather warms up. So, the first computer I ever showed on this channel is back to working order finally. So, I hope you enjoyed this escapade. You know, we did run into some problems, but that's just the sad reality of dealing with vintage computers. Sometimes it's not going to work, and you got to do some troubleshooting, and hopefully you'll find a solution. And thankfully I did. I'm still not exactly sure what I did right, but it's working now, so I'm happy. So we'll leave it at this. Until next time, this is Billy Core signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon if you would like. The link to all of these are down below. Until next time, this is Billy Core signing off.